In October 2017, I began directing Steel Magnolias for Reno Little Theater in Reno, Nevada. I got this job and they said, we need you to start January 13th, I think it was. And I realized, oh my God, I'm going to have to leave my cast because we opened the week after that, which was awful. So when I first got here, I started getting bombarded and it was so funny. It kept coming up a lot. Steel, we should do Steel. We should do Steel. The show then came up again last time for this season. I haven't been on stage at Civic Theater ever. It just felt like the right time.
Welcome to the Civic Theater Show. Taking you behind the scenes at Civic Theater of Greater Lafayette, Indiana. This is the inaugural episode of our podcast, and my name is John O'Malley. It's the start of my 14th year as sound designer and sound engineer at Civic, and now it's my privilege to host this podcast. Raquel Lopez is perhaps not who you think she is. As our producing artistic director, Raquel is in charge of Civic Theater. Coming up, we'll find out why it took nearly 8 years for Raquel to reveal her true self to our community. You know Raquel as the administrator of our theater, but that's just her day job. First, how does Civic Theater decide which shows to put on the schedule each season? And how will our second larger stage, which opens in 2027, allow Civic to stage shows that might be too much of a risk for many community theaters? Here's Raquel Lopez.
It's called the Production Delivery Committee, and there are a few board members on there, and we start the process of actually meeting right around this time of year for the season 26-27. It's very confusing. I never know what year I'm in.
So it's August 2024.
2020,
25 right now.
Yeah, right. There we go.
See, this is how much I can't keep touch with time.
I know.
It's August 2025 as we're recording this.
Uh-huh.
So right now you are starting to meet about the 2026-27 season.
Yes, and it takes till August because July is the new board orientation, and every time at orientation we get board members joining committees. So I'm not sure who's going to be on the committee until July. And then July is usually awful because people are on vacations. August is just, people are usually getting back because school now starts so early in August and stuff. So yeah, we're supposed to be meeting very soon. But before I meet with them, a lot of times I'll have 2 or 3 selections already locked and loaded. And the reason for that is because if you don't get in early for royalties, a lot of times you can lose the rights to it because someone close by. The problem with our location is that we're close enough to Indy and all of those theaters, and then we're even Chicago can be, a factor in what we can get royalties to. So it's not a huge problem. It's not like I've only lost the royalties or not gained the royalties to about maybe half a dozen of productions over the last 8 years. But I always like to start, if it's something that I know a director's really excited about, I know it's going to fit into the vision that I have for that season, which that's usually on me to do. It's in my job title as artistic director. I want to grab it. I want to get it. So I do have 2 selections locked, loaded, paid for, and ready to go for 26-27, and already scheduled those dates and everything. So at the first meeting, I will be informing the committee of these, and then I will inform them of the theme for that season. We always have a type of theme, and sometimes it really connects to the theme, the shows, and sometimes it doesn't. 26-27 is going to actually have a connection. So then we start taking suggestions from the committee. The committee reads things. They, if they've seen stuff, I'm open to any and all ideas. And then we are probably going to do a pitch session this year. So every few years, we'll have directors come in and actually pitch ideas, because it has been in the past, we have a show, let's find a director. And I find that there's much more enthusiasm behind a director who has the idea and then pitches it to us, and then we can give them that show. So we try to work that way, but it's not a perfect science. It's not. And sometimes, it does just boil down to I'm picking, I mean, it is my say. The final say is up to me. And the reason for that is because it's my neck that's on the line for the success of these shows. So if I went with all the shows that I want to do, Civic Theater wouldn't exist because it would go out of business. So I know that we have to pick things that are going to bring in the audiences. I know that we have to do some safe things where big names where people are going to purchase tickets, but we try to balance it out. And I think if you look back on our seasons, you'll see that balance.
What happens if either you or a director that comes to you says, okay, there's this hot show on Broadway from 5 years ago, and the rights for community theaters are just coming out for this coming season. I really want to do this show. What happens if that particular performance doesn't fit in with the theme for the year?
That's the thing. Sometimes, depending, we can make that fit. We can make it fit. We can change the theme if it's really that big of a show. A lot of times the theme is more of a marketing tool that we use for gaining sponsors and things like that. It's a nice way to package a season rather than just Civic Theater's 25, 26 season. We give it a theme. It gives us more marketing creativity. And that way, when you're going to people who aren't theater people, which is most of the businesses that we partner with, it just makes it flashier for them and gives them just something to connect with. And then they want to get behind it, But this upcoming 26, 27, when we announce at this year, our season reveal will be in May. And when we announce it, everyone will really understand what we're talking about with the connection. So, yeah. So it's a lot of fun. And I also am constantly receiving emails and messages from people going, hey, have you ever thought of this show? And so I am never not planning a season. I mean, I'm already thinking of stuff for 27, 28. So it's just an ongoing process. It's not like I ever shut it off. And I go to a lot of theater. I go to Indy a lot. I go to Chicago a lot. And so I'm constantly taking in things going, okay, would this work for our audience? Would this work for even a portion of our audience? Would this be something really cool for Pride Month? Would this be something cool to partner with one of the cultural centers at Purdue or something like that? Like I'm always thinking of all those different things. So
there's so much that I could ask you on this topic, and we could spend the whole conversation about it, which we'll save maybe for another visit. For example, okay, how are we going to pick some big shows for when we get our bigger stage at the Lafayette Theater?
Yeah. And that's going to be a whole other thing because that's a bigger space. And so when you are trying to get royalties for bigger spaces, sometimes that can play a factor in whether or not you can get them as well. So that'll be a whole other problem that we'll be tackling in a couple of years, but it's a great problem to have and very exciting. The opportunity and all of the creativity that we'll be able to dive into with that space. I mean, it's going to also, the flip side of that is what I'm really excited about is the stuff that we'll now be able to put up at the Monon, which that intimate space is so perfect for so many smaller shows that right now I can't afford to do because they're not big names and people we won't sell out. And when all I have is that theater and I'm relying.
You've got bills to pay.
Yeah, I'm relying on those seats to pay the bills. I can't take risks. So when I have a big name up at Lafayette Theater that's bringing in 500 people and filling up that theater, I can put something a little more offbeat that might only bring in 50 people, but it is culturally significant or a different type of theater experience for those that like that kind of thing. So that's what's really exciting. I feel like we work really hard at Civic to provide something for everyone in our community, and I feel like this is just going to give us even more opportunity to do that.
I'm so looking forward to that. Let's put a pin in that topic because I know we'll come back and talk lots more about the whole project of the Lafayette Theater, how it came about, and eventually, as you said, how we start scheduling shows for there versus what
Right.
you're going to put in the Monon.
Right.
Let's talk about productions coming up in these next few months during fall 2025.
Sure.
So Steel Magnolias is the first main stage show of the season. Let's come back to that one.
Okay.
Would you please tell us about each of the following shows? Sure. After Steel Magnolias, we have Beetlejuice Jr.
Yeah, that was exciting. So the day that the royalties came out for that at MTI, which youth shows are pretty easy to get royalties for. You're not. They tend to be very lenient about, people in town, multiple theaters in town can be putting up a youth production of the same title. But as soon as it came out, I know our director of education, Benji, was very excited that we would be able to produce that show because, all the kids in town are excited for that, as well as parents, I think. So that's going to be a biggie. I wish that I had bought 2 weekends because I have a feeling we could have easily sold 2 weekends, but it's tough with youth shows. We try to keep our youth shows to 1 weekend only. We've only done that a couple of times. I did that with Footloose a couple of years ago. I ran it 2 weekends because it was such a huge name and I knew we would do really well. But it's really keeping the safety and the sanity of our volunteers. And kids are already so over,
Yes.
scheduled, and running 2 weekends is a lot for them and for the parents. So we try not to do that. So, but yes, Beetlejuice Jr. is, we are so excited. Everyone on the staff we're getting excited about the lobby and decorating the lobby and what kind of specialty drinks we're going to have and what kind of, it's just a lot of fun.
Are most youth theater shows that we put on very resilient in terms of the size of the cast? They'll have certain number of named parts, but then what I'm thinking of is if we have 15 kids audition for one show, but 40 kids audition for the next show, and you have 8 parts, but maybe an ensemble or something.
Right.
Can you just stretch how many people want to be in the ensemble if there's that many kids?
We try in our space to keep the number of actors or ensemble to 25 or less in the Monon space. We have gone above that, and that's where we've learned our lessons. We have no backstage area. If you've ever been part of our shows or have even gotten a tour, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's very, very cramped. So when we get the Lafayette Theater space, that's going to be a whole different ball game, and we will be able to stretch those ensemble numbers and include more people in the shows. Unfortunately, at this time, trying to do that, all it does is make the experience less fun, in my opinion, for the kids or actors involved, because you're sitting around waiting a lot and you are cramped and you're in a very small dressing room space. And plus we have backstage crew, you have props, you have set pieces that live back there. It's virtually impossible to do much more than 25 people. So yeah, when the scripts call for, an ensemble that's flexible, if we can take a show like that to Lafayette Theater and be able to add more ensemble. But when you're at the Monon, it's a little different. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a very intimate space, our Monon Depot Theater, but what we don't have is space backstage or in the dressing rooms.
Right, exactly.
Second main stage show for fall 2025 is Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks musical.
Yes.
Lori Russell will be directing.
Yes, that is going to be huge. We were so excited to get the rights to that one too. Yeah, and Lori Russell's a staple director with us. She directs every year. She is wonderful, super talented, and if you've ever been in a show of hers, you know what a phenomenal experience it is. So yeah, so she is always on the docket, and as long as I'm producing artistic director, she always will be. And this is going to be a spectacular performance. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of people auditioning for this one. I know the buzz is out there in the community about it, and I'm sure everyone who's listening to this podcast knows the amount of talent that we have, and that we have the talent to produce an incredible show. So yeah, it's going to be fun, and it's perfect fall show. Yeah.
For the holidays, we have A Christmas Carol, the live radio play.
Yeah.
So tell us about the live radio play production as compared to a regular production of A Christmas Carol.
Okay. So a live radio play is just how it sounds. Basically, what's going to happen is rather than a full-blown set with the actors coming in and out and being in a literal space that is in the script. It will be actually in a what would be a 1940s radio studio, and it will be actors dressed in that time period playing the roles of the characters in A Christmas Carol. So it's almost like kind of like almost like two plays in one. Although there is minimal storyline between the actors itself. It's really them being these characters and producing A Christmas Carol. The beautiful part of this one is a couple of things. It's going to be our main stage and youth combined show that we try to do every year. We do one show a year where it's a lot of adult actors and youth actors so that they both can learn from each other.
School of Rock last season.
School of Rock last season. But also, Christmas, I will tell you, the holiday show every year is my least favorite to try to figure out. It is, everyone has there's certain theaters that do A Christmas Carol every year and, or other types of holiday shows. And it just, for me, I'm not one of those type of people that likes to do the same thing every year. I don't repeat anything. I try to give a little bit of breathing space between when we do something, even if it's super popular. I try to give a few years so that, there's just so much theater out there. And I feel like I hate repeating ourselves too much. So Christmas Carol radio show is something unique. It's a different experience. I think that our audiences are going to love it. So if you've been to a staged reading, it's like that, but enhanced tremendously because you still have that time period and there's a lot more going on visually. But yet it's such a cool, so you're going to get to see how the sound effects were made right in front of you and what it was like back in the 40s when that was the number one form of entertainment before television, right? So
families gathered around the radio set.
Around the radio, yeah. So, and it's so fascinating to me how many youth are excited about this. In this day and age, radio is such it's such the olden days, right? And I love that. And podcasts, I think, are one of those ways that's kind of bringing things back, like this kind of deal, right? This kind of radio listening type of, or audiobooks even, So, but the youth seem to be fascinated by it and really excited about it. We had a radio play class that was offered I think it was June camp, actually. And it was packed. I mean, we had so many signups and the kids just loved it. And I remember reaching out to the director, Trey Gordon, who will be directing Christmas Carol. I said, well, this is a good indication that you're going to have a great turnout for auditions if people are this excited about a radio class, right? So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun and just something unique and different because, like I said, during the holidays, you pretty much get the same thing over and over. And although the story is something that's been told a lot, it's a classic, and A Christmas Carol is always a great way to spend the holidays. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We are only running it one weekend, though. And the reason for that, because there's just so many things going on at the holidays. And it's just kind of silly to be running 2 weekends when there's just so much to take in. And I've noticed over the last couple of years that it just doesn't, it's not worth it to us to stay running for a whole other weekend. And we lose volunteers a lot of times because they'll be like, oh, I'm going to be leaving on vacation. I can't do it. So get your tickets now for that because it's just one weekend. So, yeah.
Trey Gordon, you mentioned this directing. Mm-hmm. Trey is one of our longtime volunteers.
Yeah.
He's an actor, a fantastic comedic actor, in my view. Physical comedy is Trey's specialty. Is this his first main stage as director?
Yes, I believe it is. I think he's directed a couple stage readings for us in the past. One when I first got here, and I think maybe one before I was here. I've been here 8 years. Because, yeah, he's usually on stage. So this is going to be a whole new thing for him. And I'm really excited to work with him. He's just wonderful and extremely talented. So
that's another topic we should put a pin in. How do you bring people up through the system? Mm-hmm. I could name half a dozen people who I know started performing at Civic Theater as kids in youth theater shows and have grown up, stayed in town, become actors, become stage managers, choreographers, directors, and so forth. And I've always been curious about that process.
We try to, obviously, we have these classes that kids take, and then we've started to introduce adult classes. We're going to be doing more adult classes. So people who are out there who've always thought maybe you have a theater background, but you just put a pin in that for 20 years and now you want to revisit that. Community theater that's what we're here for. We try to produce theater that would compete with something you see in Chicago or Indy. What is amazing is that they're all volunteers. I mean, I'm staff, I get paid, but all of the people working on these shows are volunteers. And so we want those people who have a passion for it, and maybe you haven't been trained formally in it, but we can teach. There is enough of us who have been trained formally in it that can help and support and mentor. And this is the place you want to be. You want to be at a community theater, you want to be at Civic, and you want to be exercising those skills. And I promise you, you will get really good at it. And if you come to one of our productions, I've had people come up to me multiple times that are big time theater goers, and they go to New York a lot or they go to LA, and they will come up to me saying, I saw this same show in New York or in Chicago, and this was better, So that says a lot for what we do. And
see yourself here at
yeah,
Civic Theater.
See yourself here. Exactly. So
one of my traditions, I'll tell you, is when I'm doing sound for one of our productions, I wait until after we wrap our production before I go onto YouTube and see if there's clips from any other community theater productions. I don't want to see what someone else has done with a particular role or a particular play before we put it on our stage and come up with our take on it. There have been some shows where I've done that. We just had the wrap party. We struck the set.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go on to YouTube and see. I have seen clips from Broadway performances where I thought, and I realize I'm biased, where I thought our actors were better than they were.
Yeah.
Okay, they may have had a bigger stage. They may have had more money to put it on. The set may have been fancier, but I care about the characters. I care about the performance. Yeah. And I've thought, you know what? We should take our show on the road. We should take our production to Broadway.
Right. No, I totally agree. It's really, I think anyone out there who has not been to Civic or hasn't been to a show, you come to a show, I can almost guarantee you are going to be blown away at what you see, the professional level of talent, that we have on stage, and also the sets. A John Collier set is just spectacular.
It's a masterpiece.
And as is many of our set builders and designers. It's really amazing the amount of talent we have in this town, and that's why we can do what we do. Otherwise I would be working at a restaurant more than likely. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the first show of our MainStage season coming up in September 2025, Steel Magnolias. It premiered as a stage play in New York in 1987, gained worldwide acclaim as a movie 2 years later, starring Sally Field, Dolly Parton, Shirley MacLaine, Daryl Hannah, Olympia Dukakis, and Julia Roberts. Civic Theater staged Steel Magnolias twice before, in 1991 and 2007. By my count, in our theater's, I think it's 94-year history, we've done plays twice, 51 times. But only 5 times have we done a play 3 times. Why is Steel Magnolias joining that list of 3-time productions at Civic Theater?
Great question. What's really funny, and there's a little bit of a story behind this, what's really interesting is I got here in January 2018. In October of 2017, I began directing Steel Magnolias for Reno Little Theater in Reno, Nevada, where I was at the time living. I got this job and they said, we need you to start January 13th, I think it was. And I realized, oh my God, I'm going to have to leave my cast because we opened the week after that. Yeah. And I had to leave my Steel Magnolias cast Tech Week which was awful.
Oh, Raquel, that's got to be
Oh, it was so
heartbreaking.
hard. It was so hard, but I had to do it. And so when I first got here, and I was trying to get my bearings and figure out, okay, how do we were in the middle of a season, and the next season, I came in 2018. So the 18-19 season was already chosen. So I was in the middle of 17-18. The upcoming season was already announced. It was fine or whatever. And then I was responsible for doing the 1920 season. And so, of course, I started getting bombarded, and it was so funny. It kept coming up a lot. Steel, we should do steel. We should do steel. We haven't done steel in years. We should do steel. And it had actually only been about 11 years, because I think the last one was in 2007. You said that was, we were 91.
2007,
Yeah.
yes, and 91.
Yeah. And I was like, and now I'm coming off of just doing it too. So I thought, God, no, God, we can't do steel right now. Not that I was going to direct it, but I just said, you know what, there's so much other things out there. So I really backburnered it. I was not an advocate for it. Plus 10, 11 years is still kind of close. I just felt like we needed more time. Well, every year it will come up, I swear, at the committee meetings. What about Steel Magnolias? Oh my God, Steel Magnolias, which everyone who's listening will crack up at all this, because when you realize I'm actually going to be in Steel Magnolias, so people are probably like, oh yeah, right. No, you wanted it because you wanted to audition. I didn't even think about auditioning. I've directed it. I know the play really well. I love the part of Malin. I absolutely adore that part. I am the mother of a 25-year-old daughter, and I relate to the script really well for so many reasons. But no, it was never on my radar to do it. And then I realized over the summer going up to it, you know what? If I'm to do this, I haven't been on stage at Civic Theater ever. Not in my 8 years here I've directed a few things, but I've never performed here. And the reason being is that this job that I have is all encompassing. There's so many components to this role and to the job I do. And so I just have never had the time. Well, this year has been an amazing year of growth, and we now have a staff that is stellar and competent and independent and can handle things. And I finally feel like, okay, this is the moment. This is the moment where I can do it. And I know this play really well. And the one role that I would really love would be Malin. So I tried out, and I didn't sit in on any of the auditions. Typically in my role, I go to auditions, I give my feedback, I sit during the casting, I'm there for it, I make suggestions. I did none of that this time.
You wanted to recuse yourself to remain independent from that process, which makes sense.
Absolutely. So, no, I did not pick this show so that I could be in it. I had no plans to do that. The show then came up again last time for the season, and it just felt like the right time. It had been almost 20 years.
Almost 20.
So 18 years. It felt good. It was a good fit for the season. Things that people probably don't realize that we have to think about are the amount of the talent and the different types of talent we have here. We have more women audition for every single play than men by far. And so what's interesting to me is, sometimes you'll see these seasons at other theaters where they have the same problem, yet there's all these roles for men, and where are all the women roles? So I really wanted a season where we could get our female identifying actors on stage and give them some more opportunities. And so we do have two. We've got Steel this year, and we've got The Revolutionist coming up that I'm actually directing in February. And these are huge, amazing, meaty roles for women. Birthday Candles is another one that is it's not a one-woman show, but the lead character is on stage the entire play. So we just so it fit perfect. And it was finally that, okay, I give in. Let's do Steel. And
it took you 8 years to find a moment where you could breathe a bit from your day job to extend yourself to.
And then I thought, okay, I mean, it got selected and everything. I still had no plans on auditioning. I wasn't thinking of that. But there are a lot of things in my personal life that happened where I thought, I need to do this again for me. Anyone out there who's an actor and you start to miss the stage, it's a part of you. It was part of I'm not that's first and foremost, that's what I am as an actor. I mean, from the time I was 5 until, I all I was ever going to do was be an actor. And people, a lot of times I make the joke that I'm not really a producing artistic director. I just play one all day long. I'm a really good actor. But no, theater has been it has just been my entire life. So, but acting was my first love. I've been trained in acting and classical and improv and in musical theater. So to get back on stage is it's just oxygen. And I'm feeling, when you just feel like you're fully realizing yourself again, that's kind of how it feels when I'm on stage and in rehearsal. Being in rehearsal is
Hmm.
it's just joyous. I'm just so happy to be part of an ensemble and be working with 5 amazingly talented women. We had such a great turnout at auditions, so we had really the cream of the crop. Everyone who auditioned that I was in the room for, I was blown away by. So John Collier had a really tough choice. I know it was agonizingly tough for him to choose this cast. So we're just all so happy, excited, and privileged to be part of it. So yeah.
Let's talk about Steele and your role of Malin in a couple different ways.
Yeah.
But first, since you just alluded to it, at the time of recording, we've been in rehearsal for 2 weeks for
Yeah.
this show.
Hmm.
So you are freshly experiencing what most civic volunteers do,
Yeah.
which is spending evenings in the theater, many hours at home learning lines and rehearsing, of course, all while trying to get proper attention to, for most at Civic, most attention to their day jobs, attention
Right.
to their families.
Mhm.
These dual roles that we have, our real lives and then
Yeah.
our civic lives, our theater lives in the evenings and weekends. So
Mhm.
you're fresh to this,
Mhm.
right? So at the end, the audience gets a couple of hours of fantastic entertainment. But what's in it for you?
Yeah.
What's in it for you as an actor? You've just started to allude to it, that
Yeah.
it's oxygen for your
It
soul.
is. It is. Uh, I'm just going to be completely honest. I am not an admin person. I'm not an office person. But my day job, I have to spend a lot of time at at a computer. Emails are my enemy. I just get zillions all the time, going through emails, doing grant writing, a lot of financials, there's so many things. And
All the nuts and
as
bolts, the
all the
behind the
nuts
scenes of
exactly.
running a
And
theater.
yeah, and I don't think our staff is always like, I don't think people understand how much work this actually is. It takes a lot of work to put up one production, let alone 10. And specialty programming and collaborations with local other nonprofits and businesses. We're trying to be a good community partner on top of being a stellar, performing arts venue. But it is not my strong suit, and it definitely I feel like a duck out of water when I'm having to be in an office setting, okay? Getting on stage is just my home. It really feels like home, and working with other I love the process of rehearsal. I love the process of discovery of in the script and the characters, the relationships, the connection. It's everything I've ever wanted to do with my life. So being there is just the easiest thing in the world. We had a rehearsal the other day during lunch hour, and to be rehearsing during the day was so cool. And like I could do that every day, all day, and never get sick of it. I just don't get sick of that part of it. Yeah.
It
So
occurs to me that your life is the inverse of most of our civic actors,
oh
in
yeah.
that you're, as you've described, you're acting during the day as an
Yeah.
administrative person.
Yeah.
So now that you're on stage for Steel Magnolias, you're coming back to
Mhm.
who you are. This is your normal self.
Yeah, it's definitely anyone who knows me knows that the like pre-show speeches, you know this about me. We'll have VIP nights or we'll have family friends night, and I have to get on stage and welcome everyone. I hate that. I hate being me on stage. I don't like having to be Raquel on stage. I get very nervous. I'm very aware of me. I'm almost like outer body experience. I look at myself talking kind of and go, shut up. That's enough. Get on with the show. I don't like being on stage as myself. I love being on stage as a character. So it's a whole different thing. It's not a nervousness, it's an excitement, it's a thrill for me to be that character. The minute that it's like, okay, well, here's Raquel to tell you a few things about the show, that's when I get like, oh,
That's when you get
okay.
nervous.
I get
That's when you, what
very
do I say
nervous.
next?
Yes, I hate it. I just
But
hate
as
that. No.
Malin in Steel
Mm,
Magnolias, your
mm,
lines are written for you. Where you go is written for you. How the
mm-hmm,
blocking, the
mm-hmm,
staging, the
mm-hmm.
emotions.
Yeah, and the relationships are, they're in the script and then you get to fully realize these relationships and yeah, and I've got these 5 other women are incredible. They're incredible. So it's really yeah, it's for me it's just joy, full joy for me and I don't mind. I can do that all day long.
So John Collier is directing, as you said,
Yes.
and he cast you as Malin. This
Yes.
is the role played by Sally Field in the movie.
Yes.
I don't want to spoil anything about the play for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But the Malin character requires a huge range of emotions. Now, that's a big challenge for any actor,
Mhm.
particularly when it's been a minute since you've been on stage.
Yeah.
So, how do you prepare to inhabit that role, the role of Malin? How do you get all this range of emotions? I'm not an actor. I'm a behind the
Mhm.
scenes guy,
Right.
and
How do
I've
you
I've always loved that role in particular. What's your process? Do you have a process for how you inhabit this character?
Well, yeah, so there's you get all this training you do and all that I went through in school and all of that. And it all kind of kicks back in, It's kind of that riding the bike kind of deal. But I will say this play is so well written and so honestly written. It's just got a lot of honest truth to it in the words, the way the rhythms, all of it. And the monologue that and I don't think I'm giving anything away. I mean, and even if I am, you'll come see it and it's different than just hearing about it. But there's a monologue at the end that Malin gives it's just heart-wrenching and I we had a read through a couple of weeks ago and I got there. I got there emotionally with it, which surprised me because it's the read through and typically at a read through you're kind of just figuring it out, but it's just so well written that when you're reading it and if you're a mom and you read that monologue, I think you're just going to cry anyway. And you can feel not only the sadness but the anger and the all of the complexity of the emotions behind it. And I mean, Robert Harling, I mean, is just a genius in that play. Is just so well written. So I'm not going to say it's not hard because I guarantee it is hard. We have since the read through, we haven't been back to it's in Act Two. We haven't even gotten to Act Two yet in our rehearsals, but I plan on letting the director know, like John know, this is something that I'm not gonna be able to do this every single during rehearsal, but definitely during the show. But you've got to save that because that freshness has to be it has to be there when you get to a paid audience. And so, but it's on the page. So that makes it really easy as an actor, I think.
I will tell you from inside knowledge, you're sound designer and your lighting designer. So I'm the sound designer for the
Yes.
show.
Yes.
But both your sound designer and your lighting designer were crying. We had tears running down our
Oh,
faces
that's right. You guys were
during the
there for the
read
read
through
through. That's
when you
right.
did that
Oh yeah,
scene.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, it's just oh, yeah. So come see it and you'll know what we're talking about.
It opens in September
Right.
2025.
Mhm.
Last question for this visit. How many people are involved in each production? Beyond the cast that we see on stage,
Mhm.
it takes a village, right?
Absolutely. Overall, like at we just had a volunteer appreciation. That'll kind of give you an idea. And we sent out and this wasn't even everyone because it's hard to keep track of everyone because sometimes people will come and just help one time and then they're kind of gone or don't come back for a while. So but we sent out like 130 invites just for that volunteer appreciation, and that's for the season. But per show, there can be up to like 40 people behind the scenes on a show, and they're all volunteers. And that's the thing that's so unique and special about community theater, that yes, New York is amazing, of course, and I love New York, and I love professional theater, and I love regional theater, and I love equity theater, of course, absolutely. But what's really amazing about community theater, and I've got to say, Civic Theater here in Lafayette is just such a prime example of a community theater for the community, involving the community, and reflecting the community. I mean, we have so many people that just are here working on passion. And that is the only way we can do this. And it never ceases to amaze me how many people just love the organization and love what we do and love being part of it, and they come back for more and more and more. And these are all behind the scenes people that don't get applause, they don't get a paycheck, they don't get, so what are they doing it for? They just love it. I think they love the fellowship, the community, the people. It is theater people, and even if theater people meaning the set builders and the tech people and the stage managers and the costumers and all of that, just it's just a cool community. It really is. And so I'm so grateful to be part of it. I mean, I know I moved here from Reno for the job. So, yes, this is transactional for sure. I am getting paid to be in this role. But I will tell you, if I was here working at a restaurant, I would be involved with Civic Theater. Like, this would be I would be probably just acting, and doing my thing there, because the people here are so special. Yeah, it's great.
Actor, drama teacher, and playwright Raquel Lopez. Raquel originally worked as youth theater director from 2000 to 2002 and returned in 2018 as producing artistic director of Civic Theater. Steel Magnolias runs from the 4th through the 13th of September 2025 at the Monon Depot Theater. Tickets are available now at LafayetteCivic.org. Next time on the podcast, John Collier and Kyle Brown, the director and stage manager of Steel Magnolias. Music for the podcast is licensed by Audio. That's AUDIIO.com. I'm John O. Thanks for listening. The Civic Theater Show is presented by Civic Theater of Greater Lafayette, Indiana. See yourself here.